Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So today we're still talking about the tongue letters. But as you know that there are many, so try and categorize them. So still on the tongue letters, we're going to categorize this group of letters. And we're going to categorize them as the whispering letters. And we're going to start with the letter Sin. Now, bear in mind, it's all about whispering. Yani, this air flows, but somehow the sound is somehow withheld back. Now, I just want you to imagine as if you are walking through a very quiet garden. The thing which you hear sometimes, you hear a gentle sound of wind, or you can just say the gentle breeze of wind, and it passing through the leaves. It's not very loud, and it isn't demanding your attention at all. Okay? It fills the entire space. Yani, you just feel it everywhere. That sound of the breeze. And inshallah, that is today's letter which we are going to look at. Today's letter is Sin. Yani, we're just going to focus on airflow here, but we're not going to add in a lot of sound here. Why? One of the things about this letter Sin is that if you compare to other letters or the way you articulate other letters like Qaf, and you feel the impact of Qaf. Even another letter you can look, which is somehow firm, you can think of it as one of those letters, Ta, and it's somehow firm. And even Swad, Swad, Sword, and you see there is a heaviness there, and then plus the releasing of the sound. But now, when we're articulating Sin, Sin does not push, it flows. And perhaps that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His perfect wisdom, chose it for many of the words that are connected with things like peace, and example, salam, things which are easy, and even concerning smooth movement, inna ma'al usri yusran. Okay, so inshallah today we're going to discover why, especially for this letter Sin. And where do we start from? Inshallah, we start from the makharij. Yes, where does it come from? From what neighborhood of where of the tongue does Sin originate from? Now, Sin is produced, now listen to the dynamics, by placing the tip of the tongue closer to the front teeth, while, listen, allowing air to pass through a narrow opening towards the upper teeth. I think you have noticed this dynamic for some previous letters, but unlike the other tongue letters that use this same dynamic, listen, the difference with pronunciation of Sin, the tongue doesn't completely stop the air flow, okay? Instead, the air keeps on moving out just like a breeze, yani smoothly. The air moves out continuously. Yani the sound of the Sin is not built on force. It is built on flow of air. So just try and do what I explained before and just let the air flow. S, sa, si, su. You see, no force, no pressure involved. So here, we're going to learn something which is very profound, especially when we're talking of this, the experience in which we experience when we're listening to this. You see, not everything powerful comes through force. Sometimes things transform us through consistency. Like when you see how water carves a stone, okay? It takes time. Like Islam, very gentle. Just take your time as you grow with Islam. MashaAllah. Now with that, let's go to the second phase of looking at each and every Quranic letter. We look at the sifa, yani what's the personality of sin here. Okay? Yani, MashaAllah, this letter possesses, or it has, 3 beautiful qualities. And as you can see, you can hear the whispering. In Arabic, they call it hams. Okay? And that's the whispering, okay? This is one of the letters which are characterized by whispering, the sound of whispering. Yani, the voice, it's not pressured to come out, but now the voice steps back. The breath comes forward. And then from there, the sound now feels very light in pronunciation. No pressure, no what? Just very gentle. It's almost just private. Assalamu alaikum. Huh? And you just imagine, even the greeting. But if you just say, Assalamu alaikum, Assalamu alaikum. Okay? And maybe another sifa, it's what they call rikhwa, yani there's continuous flow. Yani the sound comes as long as you have breath. And you just imagine, yani just add on some breath on you saying salam. Assalamu alaikum. Okay? You don't need to rush. Yani that continuous airflow. Okay? There is no explosion there. Like example, qaf or even to. Yeah? To. You can see that pressure which is there. But now compared to this one, it just flows. And with that, when I was talking about pressure, it leads us to the other sifa, which is called istif'al, yani lightness. And it's very light. Yani it is not a type of letter that has some emphasis. Yani sin is very light. Sin, as I kept on saying many times, it carries ease in pronouncing it. Gentleness, flexibility. So we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we understand this going in as we build up our appreciation for the letters of the Quran, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.